welcome to the podcast Archers of Horror. This is Sasha and Ed and Rusty.
And on this podcast, we talk about every horror release from Arrow Video. And this week, our film is Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
The best of all the movies.
It is. I love this. I love this movie. I love this movie so much.
This is great.
Yeah. To properly introduce our guest, Sasha Glasser, special effects makeup artist. You may know her from TV's Face Off or from many films she's worked on. So this is such a makeup heavy movie, and couldn't have a better guest.
Thank you. This is seriously one of my favorite movies
of all time.
Yeah,
it is a great movie.
Yeah, I respect that choice. I don't think that I've ever felt anything like the kind of paternal love for like a kid that I know that I feel for the little clown in this movie. Whenever he comes on the screen, he's so cute.
This is my boy!
Okay, so Killer Clowns from Outer Space came out in, 1988? What year was it?
88, May 27th, 88. I think it was a very short release, right?
Yeah, it did not do well at the box office.
Wow, that's crazy.
Even though there's an alternate universe where there's like 10 sequels, and it's the biggest thing out there.
Well, they are making a sequel now.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear it. Sasha, you should work on that movie.
I wish.
I think the Kyoto brothers haven't worked since pretty much 1988, so I'm surprised they're back.
They were just at Son of Monsterpalooza.
Really? Did you see them? All three?
No. So I am coming to you live from Fantastic Fest, and the only reason I really mention that is because Rusty, you know, the American Genre Film Archive has been selling some stuff the past couple days here.
Now, tell me about them again.
They preserve like horror movies and stuff that are on the verge of being lost forever. And they are the nonprofit organization I've been saying I'm going to donate to when people rate and review the podcast.
Did you bring them the oversized check from us?
No, I have not. I did not do that yet, but I might buy a shirt.
You got to support them. That's your way of making good on your word.
Frig yous all. You ain't gonna get the best of me.
Now, Ed, I believe you're kind of new to Killer Clowns, right? You've only seen it a few years ago?
That's bullshit. I was there May 27th, 1988. I was there on that release date. Actually, I remember for a sleepover in like 5th grade at John Broden's house, we had this movie and the original Friday the 13th, and we did not watch this one. But I remember thinking for years that this movie was like corny and not in a way that was cool.
Macho, huh?
Yeah.
But yeah, I only saw this movie for the first time like less than a year ago.
I did too. I remember seeing it at Blockbuster as a kid, and I don't know why I didn't grab it because it seems like something I would have loved as a kid.
What did you pass on it for?
Well, as a kid, I don't know. It may have just been something that my mom would let me rent. So like Goosebumps.
Run, but you cannot hide.
The Ryan Gosling one?
Is he in one?
He is in one, I believe. Don't hold me to that.
I remember that film. I was 40 when it came out.
Now, Ed, you didn't have HBO growing up, but HBO had a steady diet of Killer Clowns in like the summer of '89. It was like their big release. So every week, every day, actually, I think Killer Clowns is played.
Yeah, this is a movie you could watch every day. I was thinking about it's like the plot is so basic. It's just these clowns invade, and it's kind of a series of set pieces like any slasher movie, but they're all so fun.
Yeah, my favorite thing about the film is the details, and we'll have to talk about it at one point, but all the details in the movie they're just so good.
It really does a lot with the concept. Like some of the movies at Fantastic Fest, I'll think to myself, well, that had a good concept, but they didn't do anything with it. This, they clearly thought, like, what are some weapons a clown from outer space would have? Like, what are some things they could do? Like, what are, it's really well thought out.
Did anyone ever tell you that you have serious psychological aberrations?
Like watching it again, I forgot how quickly they jump into the storyline as well.
It's true. This is kind of, I think this is kind of a movie that we almost could go sort of, not scene by scene, but kind of go through it plot wise.
I'm down.
So the movie opens up with this couple finding a circus tent in the middle of nowhere, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Well, they see the shooting star while they're at like the makeout point.
Yeah.
Come on, let's check this out.
No.
Hey, what did you think of the leads, Debbie and Mike Tobacco?
I thought they were great.
I thought they were they were the definitive actors of their generation. I thought they were fine. They're not like so bad that you're not liking the movie because of them. I thought they kind of had charm.
But isn't it like an ode to like those old like invasion films that they're kind of supposed to be over the top
Oh yeah,
and like wacky?
Definitely.
the movie feels kind of like The Blob in a lot of ways. The thing I think is funny when they first find that circus tent is that, what's the guy's name in that
Mike
scene?
Tobacco.
Yeah, he's hip enough to know about like the new wave European circus fantastique,
Yeah,
I love that line.
but he's gullible enough to think that there could just be a circus in the middle of the woods.
He thought it was great.
yeah.
Is a new wave European circus fantastique? Is that just supposed to be like a Cirque du Soleil kind of thing?
I thought it was something even more like artsy or something.
Yeah, well, that's why I compared it to Cirque du Soleil. But you're thinking even more artsy.
Yeah, I thought it was more of like a high-end miming.
You can find it, Mr. Adventure.
Debbie, don't you want to finish our champagne or something?
When do we see the ice cream guys? These are the other big actors in the film.
We see them at the very beginning.
The Terenzi
Yeah.
brothers.
Both times I've seen this, I was like, "Oh my god, it's Bradley Whitford." Didn't that look like Bradley Whitford? I was really excited because I was going to be like, "Sasha, me and you have worked with the guy from Killer Clowns."
Yeah, I don't think it looks like him.
Weren't they? I think they were comics in real life. Both of them.
Ice cream, we brought our goodies here to you. A tasty treat for while you screw.
Well, I thought it was funny that the guys that did this film, all the names in the film were named after people in their real life. So
Yeah, they grew up with a Mike Tobacco.
yeah,
I don't know what other characters were.
the brothers.
Oh, they knew Terenzi brothers growing up.
Yeah, they did.
What is it just me, or when the Terenzi brothers showed up at like the makeout point and they were doing their ice cream shtick? Did you think they were kind of lame? Like, would you want to be associated with them the way Mike, like, oh, those guys are great?
I totally thought the same thing. Yeah, no.
Like, even Debbie, like, his date was just like, who are those idiots? And he's just like, no, I love those guys, those knuckleheads.
Yeah, they were just a little too stupid.
Knuckleheads.
You know those guys.
Those guys are my best friends from school.
Oh, just the play-by-play they were giving as they were, like, driving off about going to the movie theater.
Rusty, have I ever told you the story about my dad being an ice cream man?
I do know that, but
I don't.
One summer when my dad was working in a school, I'm not sure if he was a principal or if he was a teacher, he wanted to make extra money during the summer, so he decided to rent an ice cream truck, and he bought all this ice cream, and he filled up the ice cream truck, and he went out for the first day, and then he didn't realize that ice cream men have like set routes, so he kept getting chased off by ice cream trucks. And at one point, like a truck was just chasing my dad in his ice cream truck. And then he was afraid to ever go out again. So like the freezer was just jammed full of ice cream. And like all summer long, like my parents were just giving ice cream to the neighborhood kids. Like, take the ice cream, take it.
what was the losses for your dad that summer?
It's probably pretty bad.
Couldn't he have just found out the route of the other drivers and found a different route?
Yeah, he could have in retrospect. That's need that time machine. But if I'm not going to use it for that though. That's like not even the top 1,000 list of things to do.
So we're in the ship and they go through the door and they see that it kind of like goes down into the earth very deep.
You know what I loved about this moment is that who is the woman?
Debbie?
Yeah, Debbie. Debbie immediately is like, "Oh, these are aliens," and like immediately catches on to what's going on. I feel like a lot of movies would draw that out forever.
Well, she's like the intelligent character.
So when they walk into that room, when they both realize that this is not like a fun circus, and it looks like it goes miles down into the earth, when I watched that, I was like, okay, that's pushing it too much. Like, this looks unrealistic. But I really like that later in the movie, you see the ship come out of the earth and you actually see that it does go. The shape of it is, I don't know if I'm explaining this well, but the shape of it goes down into a point, and so it actually kind of makes up for that being unrealistic.
I like, and it's like a stake for a tent too. That's
Yeah.
cool. Sasha, do you believe in UFOs?
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, you have to. I mean, right? I think that space is so massive that there's got to be some form of.
Oh yeah, no, I definitely. I mean, do you believe in UFOs having visited Earth?
Oh well, I think I'm definitely open to it.
Yeah, I guess I'm open to it too. There's definitely aliens in the universe. Yeah. Like there's probably stuff we can't even conceive of. Like we can't even imagine it. Like humans, except that their skin is green.
And even
like a man that's a frog.
Mamma mia!
Or even just like an organism, like a germ, like some germ, some planet.
Yeah.
Just think out there's probably a parallel universe where humans are going to the clown planet and collecting them and eating them.
Yeah, and there's probably a movie called Killer Humans from Outer.
That's actually has to be true, and the principles of infinity. So you're onto something.
We should write a film called Killer Humans from Outer Space, and all the people on Earth are clowns, and all the.
That would be like a Twilight Zone episode. Actually, I think it is a Twilight Zone episode.
Is.
But
yeah, there is the one with kind of like that. Yeah.
Eye of the Beholder.
Now we have done all we could do. If we've been successful, well and good, there are no problems. But if, on the other hand, this final treatment has not achieved the desired result, please remember, Miss Tyler, that you can still live a long and fruitful life among people of your own kind.
I have a question for both of you.
Oh, good.
When they're inside the circus tent and they're going through those like doors that rotate, are they elevators or do they just open up to the other side into another room?
It's literally just like a door. Yeah.
It's just a door to another room?
Yeah.
Do you remember when Mike goes through like the series of doors where he keeps opening the door and he's just commentating like another door? Like, why would he just keep opening them?
That has happened to me.
Another door. Come on, Mike. Another door. Another door.
Okay, so now they go out that door and they go into a different door. And when they get into that room, it's the room with all the cotton candy bodies.
I have to say, I love that prop. That would be a great Halloween decoration.
Yes.
Like just a bunch of them too.
Yeah.
That's what you're talking about, right? That's your favorite, the cotton candy.
Yeah. What do you think? What do you think that cotton candy stuff tasted like if you were to like take a handful and eat it?
Cotton candy.
With human remains in it?
You mean in real life or like in the film? Oh yeah, in the film.
If you were in the movie world, yeah, if you were in that world.
Yeah, cotton candy, but with like blood and guts on it. That's kind of what it was. Because that's what.
Don't you love the way they say cocoons? Where they're like cocoons, cocoons.
That is the scene where they pull the cotton candy off of one and they see a face.
Nobody stores cotton candy like this.
What are you talking about? Of course it is. Look.
What was the difference between the cotton candy and like you said, the balloons?
Oh, yeah,
like,
there's no difference.
But how come one kills you pretty much instantly and the other one, you just kind of run out of air?
It depends how big of a character you are. If they need to save you later, you get put into the balloon.
But I feel like a lot of the detail in this scene is so good because even Mike says, it smells like candy.
I like how the room, it was kind of empty with the cotton candy things. And then later in the film, it was completely full.
Yeah.
I like that those clowns in one night had a ton of kills. They almost wiped out that town.
Oh, yeah.
I want to see a film about the next day. Like, how did that town recover?
Yeah.
They were burying like 600 people that day, and it was a small town.
Whoop the goddamn to do. What do we have here?
Oh, you know what we have to address?
What?
Quickly? The theme song.
Yes.
By the Dickies.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I love the theme
I love
song.
that song.
I love it, too.
It's funny. It's like kind of like a punk song, too.
Oh, it completely is.
Do you remember? This is for you, Ed, because you'll remember. Do you remember going to Utopia and looking through like the 7 inches in the records, and there was always like an abundance of Dickie records, and I never bought one.
Yeah, I never bought them either.
But do you remember seeing them? They were always there.
Oh yeah, that's funny that you mentioned that. It's also funny that like Utopia is like where we'd find out about upcoming shows by like flyers that were just like left in that area. It was like we'd have to find out about things by pieces of paper being left places. How ancient does that feel?
Do you think they would perform that song though? Like
they still play, so maybe. I have to say, when you think of the Dickies, how many other songs do you know? So I assume they probably close with it.
Yeah, that was the only song I know of theirs.
Everybody's running when the circus comes into the town. Everybody's going for the likes of the killer clowns from outer space. Killer clowns.
I also love the score for when like the clowns are all approaching the town where it says like 5 miles.
I was literally just gonna say that. Yes, it's so good. Right there, that part. Yes.
I also agree.
Yeah, I got it.
When the clowns are rolling in, it's such like a thrilling feeling. Like I wish we were all clowns, the three of us rolling into this episode.
What clown do you identify with? The short one?
I don't identify with him. I want to like adopt him, but I do. He is the object of my obsession.
Did you know they all had names? I know they're not said. Oh, Sasha, you knew that?
Yeah, but I did, but they never say it in the film because they don't. I can't tell if they're speaking English or if that's just some sort of English.
Well, the short one says "Put up your dukes." I mean, that's about the. And then the one mimics Mike's voice when Debbie opens the door, but that's pretty much it.
Well, also they do say balloon dog.
Oh yeah, that's right.
When they right in that scene that we were just talking about, the clowns chase after them and they make a balloon animal dog, and then the dog sniffs them out. And
do you think they really needed that balloon dog, or was that just for effect? Because they already shot them with the popcorn that left like a trail.
Yeah, but it's so good they needed it. They just needed it because it was so good.
You know what's a scene I just want to bring up, just because it felt so weird, but it was fascinating to me. The two punks that were brought in for public drinking.
Yeah.
Those were two actors that seemed so uncertain of the roles they were supposed to play. Like it seemed like they were told, "Oh, you guys are punk and you're drinking in public," and they just ad-lib like, "Oh, we're drinking a bottle of wine." It seems so uncharacteristic of two college punks.
All I know is one of them looked like the guy from the cover of Dead End Drive-In, so I was very uncomfortable.
Which car?
Which one? The taller guy?
Yeah, one of them seemed to be wearing like kind of white makeup or something, or was just very pale.
Yeah, he looked like Klaus Nomi.
What on earth are you talking about?
Basically, once the clowns, after that great moment, enter the town, we're just flashing between the heroes and the clowns fucking people up. What are your guys' favorite scenes of the clowns causing mayhem?
All of them.
Yeah, it is. That's true. All of them are the best.
Although
a few stand out.
The shadow puppet one is so good.
Yeah, the shadow puppet one is great.
The one that that stayed with me over the years that I always recall is the motorcycle gang with the shorty with the bicycle when he pulls up on a strike.
I mean, that's the best scene. He pulls up on his bicycle and they give him so much shit.
Can I take a ride, pal? Can I beep the horn? Oh, thank you.
I don't know if I felt sad for him because I knew he was about to kill the guy. So it didn't really make me sad that the guy was bullying him.
But I have to admit, it was hard to watch the part where he then puts on boxing gloves and he's like, "Put up your dukes," and he punches the guy's head off, and that was hard for me to watch. because I did that to a kid when I was little.
Yeah.
Got in a fight and I punched his head off.
Should have let the man ride his bike.
As a kid, though, that scene actually kind of scared me, even though I was probably 10 at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But, and it wasn't because of the effects. It was more like I thought that was possible, that you could be decapitated with a punch. And do you remember at that time, it was the same time where kids would like threaten you and say like, oh, I'll punch you and I'll punch your nose into your brain?
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember that threat? And people would go around and be like, oh, I know, all I have to do is hit you once and I'll break your nose bone into your brain and kill you that way. Do you know that's all a myth? There's no possible way of doing that. And yet that terrified me for much of middle school.
Yeah, there was like a really brief period where it felt like everyone had guns because like everyone was like, it was like mutually assured destruction. It was like, don't do that move. Don't do that move. I used to worry about getting in a fight and doing it.
And it's also the kid saying it is not strong enough to do that.
But they would always like show you how they would do it. Like it was that open palm strike upwards. And it's just like, shit, they know what they're talking about. They're demonstrating it in the air.
Yeah. It's like just last year we were playing with action figures and now this guy's like a special ops killer.
What are you gonna do? Knock my block off?
I was gonna say when she's in the shower and the popcorn on the floor starts crawling. I loved that. The little piece of popcorn starts crawling. I love that because it kind of explains why they shot popcorn at them, because it's almost like a tracking device.
How does that popcorn also morph into like baby clowns and then to like a dumpster clown? The guy sprinkles some popcorn in the dumpster.
Well, wait, are you talking about the dumpster where he hears like the bird tweeting and he opens it and the clown's inside?
That doesn't ring a bell to me. I think we all watched different movies here. What was that scene? What?
That happens at the clown place, at the clown burger place.
Oh yeah. Wait, he hears a bird? I don't remember that.
It's so short, but the clown's trying to lure the little girl out of the restaurant.
Oh, okay.
Isn't the clown inside the dumpster?
Well, the one clown sprinkled like popcorn into the dumpster and it morphed into something. It's one of our favorite movies and we can't recite it.
Well, I thought what I remember is that the clown was trying to lure the little girl out, but the mom wouldn't let her go out, so he was like super disappointed because he didn't get to catch the little girl. So then he went inside the dumpster, and then when the guy came out, he made a noise like a little bird, and then the guy opens the dumpster and he grabs him, but I may be remembering that wrong.
Now the clowns pretty much like decimated that town. Do you think they got that little girl in the end?
Yeah, probably.
No, she got away.
Two different visions.
She definitely got away, but was in intense therapy for the rest of her life.
Did you know there was an appearance by Christopher Titus in the movie? Do you remember that guy?
Joe Lombardo.
Yes, I do. I randomly went to a taping of his sitcom when I was in film school because like a graduate was like a writer on the show. So it was like, we're all going to go to the show Titus and be behind the scenes. The only other memorable thing though about that day is that at one point we're waiting in the hallway and we're all like sitting down, and since I can't sit Indian style, my legs were extended and actor Stacy Keach walked down the hallway and tripped over my legs.
Wait, you're an adult at this point, right?
Yeah, and he's pretty old.
Did he say something to you?
Yeah, no, he was like, oh, sorry. I was like, oh, it's my fault.
Oh, wow.
Fool of a took.
I love when the clowns are destroying the store.
Yes. Well, I love that first he walks up to the entrance and there's the other like moving figure, gorilla figure, and he mimics it.
I love just like the cuts from the pharmacist looking like, oh my God, to like the clowns constantly knocking things off the shelves.
The one clown like just completely smashes into something and falls on the ground, and then that may have really happened if they couldn't see very well.
Do you think they were just collecting this stuff to bring back to their homeworld?
Probably, yeah, like souvenirs. But there is the one part where where the store guy calls the police station, and as he calls, the clown walks up to the desk and brings a pile of stuff as if he's going to pay for it.
I think I have a bit of a problem here.
How did the clown know the protocol of shopping? Like,
Well, they've been to our planet before, right? Because they inspired clowns.
Maybe watched Earth TV.
Like that's what like the that's where clowns came from, right? In the story of this film, because they had visited earlier, and we based our clowns on them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, clowns have an ancient and interesting history, but I didn't do any of that research.
They do, though. You're right. That's true.
What can you tell us about it?
I didn't do my research either.
Rusty, what do you have about the history of clowns for us?
not much, but I want to know why all the clowns were referred to as JoJo. Is that like a derogatory term for a clown?
Clowns did used to face a lot of prejudice. We need to acknowledge
that. But even the ice cream truck was called like JoJo's. Like,
no, I think it's because JoJo is the ice cream truck that they just kind of continued that, naming it after the ice cream truck.
Calling all clowns, calling all clowns. This is JoJo. Are there any space clowns out there?
You guys, will you stop fooling around?
But the name, the Clownzilla at the end, its original name in the screenplay was JoJo. So JoJo's disappearing everywhere.
Oh, that's strange. Then I don't know.
Big bad JoJo coming into town.
You know what we haven't talked about yet? The bizarre love triangle between Dave, Debbie, and Mike.
That is true. That is true.
Dave never really wins, though, right?
Well, the weirdest part about with Dave at the end, when like they're looking up at the sky and saying they're glad it's over, and they get hit with a pie. But right before they get hit with the pies, Dave is smelling Debbie's hair, and it's very creepy looking.
Yeah, I noticed that. It's creepy. It's also very confusing to the storyline.
It is very, and he's like holding her.
Yes.
But they never made it seem that Debbie was interested in him.
I think they meant it as like they're just all like on good terms now. It's just like a little too much.
Interesting fact though for you, and here's what I'm thinking. In the feature Tales of Tobacco with the actor Grant Kramer, he mentions that while filming that they got very close together and possibly were dating. So I'm thinking maybe that was a little bit of some of their romance rubbing off onto screen.
Oh, I see. You're saying the guy who was smelling her hair was dating her in real life.
Yes, allegedly, according to Grant Kramer, who played Mike Tobacco.
So maybe they didn't know they were being filmed at that moment, but they just kept it in.
Yeah.
Also, the pies that hit them in the face actually hurt.
Really? That puts it.
Then I feel really bad for the one guy that got hit with like 40.
The security guard?
Yeah. But just to add another awesome detail about how he got hit with all these pies, and then it turns out the pies were like acid pies, and so he just kind of turned into a pile of pie.
I've got no memory of any of this. Sounds good though. Sounds like an enjoyable film.
What are you going to do with those pies, boys?
Sasha, did you love seeing all the clowns come out at the end?
Yeah, at the very end, and then right before JoJo.
Yeah, right before JoJo comes out.
And they all look pretty good too. I was like one of these clowns might look horrible just because like sometimes when there's like a lot of effects, like in a low budget movie like this, there'll be like someone in the background who like looks mangled, even in the original Star Wars. But they all look pretty good.
We have to give an honorable mention to the two women clowns that are sitting at the jacuzzi of like the ball pit jacuzzi.
Oh yeah, I love that the guy's attracted to them.
Well, yeah, I guess. Ask if they're the roommate.
Did they kind of look like female gremlins?
Oh yeah, I could see that. They look like the female gremlin from Gremlins 2.
Back to the clowns though. That you said there's a few like janky ones. Like some of them had like bad haircuts, like Mo Howard hairdos.
Oh, a wise guy, huh?
Like they had a crimped hair. They had like crimped Mo Howard hairdos.
I would do anything for that hair. I would do anything for that hair.
I really like the hair though. That looked like cotton candy, like the tall ones. Like I just wanted to like play with it like a troll doll.
Yeah, I would love to duct tape. That's my skull.
Sasha, this isn't for the audience, but how would I make that hair that I could just have it at home to play with?
One?
Like that hair, like on the tall one that had like the spiky hair.
Yeah, I love that.
I was gonna say Sasha is a acclaimed hair puncher.
It takes me about 17 hours to do one head of hair, and that's like that's like a zombie head. So that's like thin hair, and that's 17 hours. So I'm sure those took 30 hours to hair. I guess someone who's fast maybe 20, but so each mask had to be haired, and which is one hair is punched at a time, pretty much. And they do sell synthetic hairs in those bright colors. I don't know if they have real hair in those bright colors, but it wouldn't make sense to do that. But yeah, synthetic hair comes in any color, and you can punch that into foam latex, which is what the mask was probably made out of.
I wonder do you think those masks held up 30 years later?
Oh.
Or do you think they're all deteriorated?
Well, yeah, I wonder where they are. I mean, there's probably fixer sprays or some sort of something you could do to like embalm it or preserve it. But the latex, I mean, I'm just guessing it's latex. I'm sure it is, but latex kind of does tend to kind of turn kind of gross after a couple of years. So yeah, I'm wondering what the condition of those are right now.
This is a great time to mention that Killer Clowns from Outer Space is at Universal. Was it Halloween Horror Nights this year?
A lot of my friends sculpted them. Yeah, it's in Florida though, but
it's not in LA? Fuck.
Yeah, so they don't have one in LA, but it's in Florida, and it looks really cool.
Damn.
Yeah, they do look really cool. I saw a promo picture of that.
I was all excited to go to that by myself at 11 a.m. on like a Tuesday.
Now, much like Terminator, like even though the clowns were killed, those babies were never actually killed, right? So they could reproduce and make a whole new generation of clowns, right?
Maybe that's what the sequel will finally address.
Yeah.
Do you think any of the characters will return?
I think the iconic designs will definitely be featured. If they don't bring that little clown back, I'm going to kill the Kyoto Brothers kids. So I really think it's in their best interest.
They probably will, but they'll probably bring in some new clowns.
I don't know who. You know, there's something kind of peculiar around here.
What did you think of the cop?
Oh, I can't believe we've gone this long without mentioning John Vernon, probably the biggest name in the film, from Animal House.
Then, as of this moment, they're on double secret probation.
And what else was he in?
Dean. He was Dean Wormer. He was in some Clint Eastwood movies, right?
I recently saw him in like an acclaimed 70s movie. I don't know if it was Prince of the City or it was something like that. And I was like, who is this guy?
Well, son, I think you made a big mistake. You're in Mooney's territory now.
I love him in this movie. I love how it seems like they just had him for a couple days, like in the police station alone, and they're like, just riff for a while.
Yeah, he played that character well though, because he really despised them.
Yeah,
he's just such a cynic, this jaded old cop in a small town hating the young kids.
Yeah.
How come? What was his beef though with Dave? Was he because he was a young cop?
He seemed to have beef with everyone.
Yeah, he was very bitter.
I like when he was getting the calls about reports of clowns, and he still refused to believe.
Yeah,
to believe it, even though when his friend from like the pharmacy called, he's like, they got him too, and then he blamed the Terenzi brothers as if like they're pranking everybody.
Clowns, I get it. Another one of their stupid stunts to sell ice cream from that goddamn truck those hoodlums run around in.
He didn't even believe it when the clown walked in.
No, yeah, he tried to arrest it and the hands came off.
Yeah, and he still laughed.
I like when he became the puppet. He acted that part really well.
Yeah. That part was cool.
And it was creepy when he leaned forward and was like,
"Don't worry, Dave. All we want to do is kill you."
Oh, yeah.
It's confusing that it's in his voice, though, even though he's dead. Oh, no, it's because the clown can mimic his voice.
I love the way the clown pulls his hand out from the guy's body. Like, just something about his motion of doing that really captures it well. And there's like a little bit of a sound effect. Yeah, it's such a great detail.
Yeah, just again with such good details.
When that couple was making out in the inflatable boat, Rusty, did you ever have one of those inflatable boats? I feel like they were really ubiquitous in the 80s.
Oh, they really were.
Wait, what are you talking about? Wait, what part is that?
The way in the beginning.
The very beginning.
Oh, yeah,
There's like a couple that
they're lying on
Did you have that boat?
Yeah, definitely. I did have that boat actually as a kid, but I also just thought that was such a good detail again.
It's like in the movie, I just saw the movie Holiday here at Fantastic Fest, and it was a great movie. And it's like a Danish movie that takes place in Turkey. And in one scene, they're in the pool and they're on an inflatable alligator, and it's like the same inflatable alligator from when I was a kid. I was like, that alligator has never changed its design. I'm sure you know the one I mean, Rusty.
Oh yeah, yeah. It had the two handles on the back too, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Wait, so that's still around? They never changed that design?
I guess so. It was the exact same thing. And then in a different movie, that exact same alligator again, but in gray. I was like, interesting choice, gray, but it looks like those people are doing well. Somewhere there's like a mansion. There's like a mansion, and like this family lives there. And when people are like, "Oh, how'd you make all their money?" And they're like, "Oh, we're in the inflatable alligator. Like we made that alligator." Like, "Oh wow, did you also make that killer whale?" They're like, "No, don't mention those people." The cotton candy cocoons reminded me of the TV show V. I don't know if you watched that when it was on, Rusty, but I'm only mentioning it because I have wanted to be a visitor from V every Halloween since I was in first grade. And this year I was like, I'm really doing it. There's like one person on the internet who makes the costumes. You got to get the order in like July. And I didn't. So now I'm
I think I told you this, but in the movie Rad, the twin brothers are wearing outfits from V.
What?
During the high school dance scene.
Oh, okay. But not like, it was just like leftover costumes, right? They're not supposed to be referencing it.
Yeah, they're just leftover costumes, but they're very oddly placed to be wearing, like in suburbia.
Yeah, wow.
It's just like I don't think they were a popular style at the time, and then it was revealed that they were V costumes.
Wow, that is interesting.
So if you could get in touch with Rod and Rex, you could maybe get one of their outfits.
It's funny because I've emailed a couple times. I've emailed the person who makes the costumes, and it's always late, and they're always like, "It's too late." And I'm like, man, the person who makes V costumes and has a website that looks like it was from like 1995 thinks I'm a loser.
Remember that mannequin I showed you that I found on eBay of a character from V? And it was like, he was selling it for a few $1,000s and it would look like utter shit.
Oh, yeah.
It's just like a lizard mask put on like a Mighty Morphin Power Ranger body.
Yeah, I bought it. I bought it and then I tried to decline the charges, my credit card. They didn't buy that for a second.
What else? What else do you have to say about Killer Klowns?
Well, yeah, actually, I think that I feel like it's a little bit of a one of a kind of movie. Like there aren't a lot of movies that I can compare to it.
I've heard comparisons to Invaders from Mars, but I've never seen that.
You gotta watch it.
So I don't know.
I saw it when I was like a kid, but I don't really remember very well. But I definitely couldn't compare this movie to another movie. Like it has such a unique feel. Like it has such a fun, unique feel.
Yeah, exactly.
I wanted to say something from way back. The song by the Dickies, the Killer Klowns song. There's kind of like a subgenre that I feel that no one has done like a good list of horror movie songs that mention the plot or elements of the plot. There's obviously the Ramones song Pet Sematary from the movie Pet Sematary.
Yeah.
There's also a great song from the movie Cat's Eye.
I don't remember that.
Do you remember that song, Sasha? I think you recorded it on your phone or you're trying to Shazam it for a while.
I remember it, yeah.
I saw the guy selling the record at Son of Monster Palooza, and I was like, "Oh, I got to get that record." And it was like from that era, like it's from like 1984, whenever. And then that record was gone in seconds.
Wow!
I saw it, walked away, came back,
crazy.
It was gone.
That's like a $50 record, right?
I think so, yeah.
You know that they don't make on vinyl a Killer Klowns soundtrack, which is a shame.
That's crazy.
Because I would definitely want that.
Yeah, me too. I feel like this movie we've talked about is rising in popularity, so maybe there'll be a Mondo release or something soon.
I'm definitely looking forward to the sequel, but I would love to see like more films kind of like in the style, I guess, with theme songs that are like kind of like it too, you know? Like the whole package.
I'm surprised that more movies haven't done that have like a fun vibe.
Didn't you submit a theme song for The Predator that got rejected?
Yeah, the Predator rap.
Can you do the Predator rap?
Okay, the first two lines: thermal imagery. I'm hiding in a tree.
That's not bad. That's like such like 80s kind of rap too, just to rhyme.
The soldiers cannot see.
Yeah.
I'm more dangerous than a bee. I don't know. Okay, help me out, people.
One ugly motherfucker.
Sasha, I've got a question for you. This is a great towards the end of the episode question.
Mm-hmm.
I remember you listened to this podcast a few months ago, and you said to me, it's good because it's good when you have a podcast where one person is the geek and one person is the cool one. But I never found out which one you meant. Who is the geek and who is the cool one?
I don't remember saying that.
Well, Sasha, he relayed that to me, and he implied that you were referring to me as the geek. Please change it. Please change that.
I don't think I said geek and cool one. Those don't sound like words I would say.
I think you said.
Is it possible you said two dorks?
No, you said jock. You said jock and dork.
Definitely didn't say that. I don't think I even said that either. I probably, whatever I said, I probably meant that you're a good, like, group. Yeah, but I can't remember the words I used.
Was it Larry Appleton and Balky Bartakamus?
I guarantee that Sasha has never seen that show. Sasha, have you ever seen the show Perfect Strangers?
I haven't.
Do you have any idea what it is?
I've heard of it, but
yeah, no, there's no reason for you to know it.
So wait, whoa! There's a reason. Listen to the theme song and tell me if it's not a great theme song.
I'm sure all of it.
And that's all you need to know.
Yeah, I'll listen.
That's all you need to know.
When I try to rewatch sitcoms from my childhood, like I'll be like, oh, maybe I'll like smoke weed and watch like an episode, and I can't get more than like 12 seconds into anything. As soon as it begins, it's just so bad. I'm just like, I can't watch this. What am I doing?
Same. I mean, I guess we have different childhood shows, but I don't know how I ever watched Courage the Cowardly Dog.
I've never even seen that.
I never even heard of it.
Were you a fan of like Hey Arnold?
Yeah.
How far back in Nickelodeon do you go? Is it like were you into like Hey Dude and Salute Your Shorts, or is that before your time?
Yeah, that was before me. Rugrats?
What about Real Monsters?
Yes. I don't think I could watch that now though.
Too scary.
It's free.
Yeah, a lot of
They're real. They're real. That's the problem.
I just have a random question for Sasha. Since you're an effects person, is Halloween your favorite time of the year? Or is it just unrelated?
Well, you would think that, but Halloween is the busiest time of the year. I keep pausing because I have heartburn and it's loud, and please edit that out, Ed. You're not gonna. I know you're not.
Nope.
It's staying. Anyway, so Halloween is the busiest time of the year, and so it's hard for a lot of effects artists to even have a costume of their own because we're usually making costumes for other people or just so busy. So I love Halloween. It's always been my favorite since I was little, but it's definitely like more work, I think, than like enjoying it.
What's the craziest request you've gotten
ever? Or for Halloween?
Yeah, like for Halloween.
I was gonna say, didn't you do that? You punched the hair on that Trump Putin Quato.
Oh yeah! Oh my god, that one's so good. Hold on. Yes, let's talk about that one. Okay, my friend, his name's John Wrightson. He did a Halloween costume last year, and we have there's a couple big parties where all the effects artists go to, and sometimes there's a costume contest. And so my friend John Wrightson last year did Quato Trump. So he had a little baby Trump on his stomach, and he was Putin. Had a Putin mask that he sculpted himself, and It's just a
That's
mask,
awesome.
but it actually looked quite real. Like it really looked kind of like he was wearing a makeup. And it was amazing that he did that. Like I think anytime a makeup artist or effects artist pulls off a Halloween costume on themselves around Halloween, it's like, how did you do that? Because we're usually just so extra busy around Halloween. So, but yeah, I punched the hair on the little Trump head.
Did the Trump head move at all? Was there any animatronics?
No, but it did have little arms that he kind of would like wiggle, and he just made it as creepy and as weird as he could. And I love that the stomach and the Trump was like a little tanner and more orange.
Open your mind. Open your mind.
When you were on Face Off, if you just sculpted a killer clown costume, would the judges have hated it?
Yeah, because you're not supposed to copy anything on that show. You're supposed to be creative. So, I mean, they would have laughed probably if a full-on killer clown just walked on the stage. They would have laughed, and it would be great. But
what if you had
not slide?
What if you had built it with working weapons and turned them into like cotton candy? That should be when Face Off has its finale. That's how it should end.
So on Face Off, when you're being judged, there's 3 categories. You can be in the top, you could be in the bottom, or you could be in the safe categories. So in that case, if you did like a really awesome killer clown with working like moving eyes or whatever, weapons, whatever, you would probably be put into the safe category, meaning you did something really good, but it's not creative. You know what I mean?
Sasha, what is your favorite gore effect you've ever done?
Well, I feel like I learned that I'm not the best at gags. That's what you mean, like a gag?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, like the thing is that like I've done blood gags, but I've also done some stuff with like motors and like lights and stuff. And
that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, I feel like I'm pretty good with working with like motors, like rotating pieces. Like I did like a doll that had a rotating wind up in her back, but I felt like it looked pretty cool. And then I did do a light up silicone heart recently it was cool just because it was like remote control, and it had like you could change the colors and you could change like the speed and of how the lights worked, and it was inside silicone, and I don't know, it was cool.
Sasha, do you know what special effect creeps Ed out the most?
What?
Bread and water mixed together.
I don't know if that's a special effect.
Well, and We Are the Flesh it was.
That does disgust me deeply. I don't know why. Actually, I do know why. That's the fucked up thing I realized. I was a really little kid. My parents had friends over. Mr. Smith, who was the principal of, was it called Forest Hills? Remember that elementary school in Wausau? He was my dad's friend, and he was the principal of that school. And he came over and he was showing me how to make breadcrumbs. And I was like, "Oh, I'll make another dish." I was so little, and I put a bunch of bread in water, and I was so repulsed, and it has really stuck with me.
Do you dry heave watching the Nathan's hot dog eating contest where the contestants dip the bread into the water to swallow it easier?
Watch that?
I can't imagine the circumstances that would have to happen for me to watch that.
Yeah, I don't want to watch that. I don't have any problems with bread and water, but I do not want to watch that.
Maybe if I was like on some major drugs at some weird guy's house and he was like had it on, I couldn't even move, and I was just like, "Oh, dude."
You do realize competitive eating is like a thing, though.
Yeah,
I don't get that.
But that's a trend I won't be jumping on. Unlike Killer Clowns from Outer Space, ramen, Suspiria, and the other trends that I started.
Wait, you don't like ramen?
No, I love ramen. I invented being into ramen.
Oh, you did not.
I started the ramen trend. I did.
But didn't you just say that? These are the trends you do like.
Yeah, these are the trends I like that I started.
Oh, okay. I have a question really fast. If I were to say, like, play the Killer Clown theme song right now, then will it play?
Probably.
That's so cool.
If you've ever wondered why the population's going down,
Wait, what about the part where they're walking into town?
Yeah, we could do that. It's probably playing right now.
What?
Yeah, it definitely is.
That's awesome. Can you play backwards?
That I probably can't do. Ed, do you know that trick?
Yeah, if you play it backwards, it's weird though. It has a secret message. It says, "Please rate and review the podcast."
5 stars. What do you think the hardest piece was that was shown in the film?
Well, they also had all their special effects and gags and stuff they did, but as far as so they had the masks that all the clowns wore, and then they had some extra effects like where he gets his head cut off and the head goes flying that they made just a head. And it's possible they didn't even cast the guy. They probably just threw a head into the air and have it land in the trash.
Yeah, you never see the face. So.
Exactly, yeah. And so there's a couple of stuff like that. But all the clown masks seemed equally challenging. I'm sure the guys who sculpted it and painted it and did the hair had so much fun, like coming up with different, like details to the masks themselves. That's my favorite part. But yeah, definitely putting the animatronics or just the moving eyes and the moving mouths and stuff, that definitely was the hardest for them, I'm guessing.
I have two Grant Kramer things.
Okay.
And that I learned from his feature. Do you know that he could have been the next big action star?
No. What do you mean?
And he was offered to be in those American Ninja movies.
Oh, that Michael Dudikoff was in? Yeah.
Yeah, which weren't that big, and the reason why he didn't do it, he was offered the role, but they were being filmed in South Africa.
Oh.
And because of apartheid. But it's funny because Hellgate was filmed in South Africa, and he said that at that time in the 80s, a lot of films were being shot in South Africa. Is there a reason why? Do you know?
Well, isn't it weird that, Sasha, aren't you partially South African?
Yeah. My dad is from Cape Town, South Africa, and I've spent a lot of time in Cape Town, and it is true that there is a lot of filming still in Cape Town. This is random, but I was watching an episode of Black Mirror recently, and they're on the beach, and I was like, "That's Cape Town." I just could tell because it's very distinctive looking.
Oh wow!
I think we should brainstorm other really good movies that would be like killer blank from outer space, and I'm gonna start with killer Disney characters like Mickey Mouse, like Killer Mickey Mouse would be so cool. Killer Goofy, Killer Donald Duck, and then is Donald Duck Disney?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And then my second one is Killer Artichokes. All artichokes.
Isn't it like Killer Tomatoes, but with artichokes?
Is there a Killer Tomatoes?
Oh
Yes.
yeah.
Oh, okay. Then let's.
That'd be funny if you tried to develop that film and people are like, "This is just Killer Tomatoes," and you're just like, "No, Killer Artichokes."
No, let's veto that.
When I was little, I always wanted to see that, and my brothers and my parents were all like, "Edward, the movie is just bad. It's not even funny. It's just bad."
Yeah,
and I was like,
really
"No, I
is.
want to see Attack of the Killer Tomatoes." And then finally watching, we're just like, "Oh, this movie sucks."
Oh wow, I did not know. That was really, I invented that idea. I was not aware of the Killer Tomatoes.
One more Grant Kramer thing that he said,
Okay.
and it seems like it's a trope from every feature that we watch from these Arrow films. He says that to this day he still gets recognized, and people come up to him and just like, "Hey, you're Mike Tobacco." Even if I recognized him, would you even know the name Mike Tobacco from like 30 years later?
No, definitely not. I didn't know it from. I saw Rusty Tobacco. I was like, "Why is Rusty started smoking?"
And I don't know if you know what he looks like now. You would not recognize him. First of all, he had like dyed black hair in the movie. He has like light hair, and he looks nothing like he did in the movie. So there's no way people are recognizing him unless he's at like a convention.
Come see the incredible Miss 50-50, half man, half woman, the perfect double date. Or, right over here, we've got Belinda, the Billy McWonder. Watch her binge and purge before your very eyes.
Well, final thoughts. Our question we usually close with is, would you recommend it?
I would recommend someone like if they had to choose between saving their child who's like hanging from a ledge and watching this film, watch this film. Cancel your wedding, watch this film. Don't go on that trip, watch this film.
I would recommend this film to anyone.
It's a great late night movie too.
It really is.
Hang out and put Killer Clowns.
Yeah, it's so not plot dependent that you could just have it rolling all the time in the background. It's almost like a porno, except that the sex scenes are clown scenes.
I think it's a good place to end it.
Well, Sasha, thanks for being on the show.
Oh, do you have any final thoughts, Sasha, that you want to end with? We could end it with something you want to say.
I don't think so.
Do you think it's over?
Yeah, sure.
Killer clowns running around here, then I'm Porky Pig.